cut.
What are you doing? It's still... Is it going? Yeah, it's going.
Alright, I'm Zac Oneil and this is my second attempt at the Kosci ultramarathon. 240 kilometers, even though it's 230 this time. Lots of travel was involved in this past year, but I'd always planned to come back to Kosci, so I'd been doing lots of running while I was overseas in the Middle East and in Europe. So I'd done a 110k race in Spain and France as my qualifier to get back into Kosci. So I got back in September and then started ramping up the training for Kosci over about 9 weeks, 8 weeks maybe. Well, the goal last year was pretty much my goal that I had this year, so I just wanted to, like, going into it I thought I should just stick to my same goal as last year, which was around the 30-hour mark to 32-hour mark, and obviously I was 37.5 hours in my first attempt. Eventually just told myself I just need to do it faster than what I'd done last year, so I knew there was going to be lots of sections that I could capitalise on and go a lot faster. So, and my knees were a bit better this year, so I think that played a large factor in it. I mean, my coach told me the training that I had to do the year before, and it worked. So I wasn't ill prepared last year. I think I just got some unlucky and just went out too quickly. So I've done incorporated lots of walking uphill and really dropping the ego off and eliminating the Strava ego as much as I could, and really focus on my nutrition as well, because it's very easy to, like, in races this long, it's easy to stuff your nutrition up and just stop eating when you feel nauseous. So we really made sure that we got to the start line on time this year, because the year before we missed the smoke ceremony and I was like just too relaxed on that morning. So it was good to get there early and like see everyone and have all the nervous energy. The first time I done it, I was a little bit nervous, but I knew it was going to hurt. So, but this year I was actually quite nervous because I knew that I had to like really execute a game plan that I was pushing for, and so I was quite nervous this time. And the rain had like kind of subsided a little bit, and then started to sprinkle a little bit when the race started. But I think most of the people that were worried about the weather were just the crew and stuff like that. I think every runner in there, we don't really care about the weather. Like, we're about to run 240k, so we weren't too worried about the weather. But
butter my bread! Steve, Kath, how you feeling?
Good this year.
Less stress than last
Less stress.
year.
Why's that?
You've got a game plan. You're going to do it.
Better crew chief?
Yeah, that's to be seen.
How was he feeling this morning?
Bit nervous actually.
Which is good.
Good.
Bit of a different scene down here in Eden this time around?
Yeah, it's very wet. So it's going to be very interesting to see how crew go, get him dry.
We'll get him there.
in true Kosci fashion, it's either going to be 40 degrees or it's going to be like minus 40 degrees and like driving rain. So this year it was the latter. I don't know, I think it was like 300 mils of rain that they had over the whole period of that race, so which led to some course changes. So usually you would start at Eden and you would go up to Rocky Hall, which is about a 50k stretch, 55k stretch, but because all of the rivers were flooded and that you couldn't drive through there, we had to actually run out to Toowoomba, which is 24 k's.
Give us that. 15 seconds off. We're just 2 cars up here.
And then run back to a junction on the road, so we had to do an out and back for that section, then actually hop in the car for an hour and then be driven around to New Buildings Road, I think it is. So we skipped about a 10-20k gap in the actual first part of the course, so it was a bit odd jumping in the car for an hour, but I think if it was 200 k's into the race it would have been big thing, but so it was only 50 or 45 k's in, so it wasn't too bad. I really wanted to emphasize like having a low heart rate at the start of this race, because last year, like, I didn't think I was going out too hot, but looking back, I obviously was. So I chucked the heart rate strap on to the first 100 k's, 106 k's basically. So I wanted to keep it under. As soon as I'd see it spike over 150, I'd just tone it back a bit, and that put me in like, I think I was coming like 3rd or 4th last maybe at Toowoomba, so didn't get the dub off Trevor Allen unfortunately. But that was it was very hard to let all those people go, but I just had to have faith that I was going to see them again. Going up Cowbell Trail was a lot more chilled this time. Previously I'd picked up my pacer there as well just for that section, and we just went way too fast on that, so I was lucky that I had Zac Oneil. He's one of the like top age group triathletes in his age group, which is my age group as well, so the guy's just like dialed on everything, nutrition wise, training wise, heart rate. Like he just kept me like held in, composed, and just like was, yeah, just like very reassuring. So yeah, it was great to have Zac. But yeah, we just cruised up that nice and easy, and then seeing Rob Mason halfway out, which was cool. He was doing some interviews and stuff, and then we just had a big hug when we seen each other, which was really cool. And yeah, we just come into Cathcart just feeling really good. Done a big river crossing, seeing Benji Madden there just before the river crossing. We all crossed together. It's actually quite deep there, like it was probably up to my knees nearly, and I had someone escorting us across there, which was good, because if you come unstuck there, you're probably in a bit of strife. So, but yeah, I got to Cathcart feeling good. Zac just done such a good job. So.
You've just knocked out Cowbell Trail. How are you feeling, Jack?
Yeah, pretty good. Zac's going well as well. So.
What was it like on the way up?
Raining, but not too bad otherwise.
Zac's moving pretty well?
Yeah, he's fine. He's going well.
Good stuff.
It's real hard to hold yourself back and go that slow. Like I was literally walking every single hill and like keeping it around 6 minute 30 k's, and just like I was really holding myself back, and I wasn't sure if it was too much, but then ended up paying off. So I pretty much had that same, all the first 100 kilometers I was just taking it really chill. The sun started to the sun pretty much went down when I got to Gunning Road, so 106 k's, and that's where we got to pick up Jamie. So like that was my second pacer of the day.
Jamie, how we going?
Yeah, good mate. We're just down here at the Snowy River Way, 106 k's in. Zac's looking strong so far. We're about 40 k's to Dalgetty's checkpoint, so yeah, looking forward to it. About to jump on with him, fueling up.
You going to be able to keep up?
Oh, hopefully. It's pretty cold too, so.
He's killing it.
Jamie Stewart, he's been my mate since like we used to go to parties in Sydney together, and the dude's just like I don't want to say a fashion icon, but that's the way I always used to see him. And he's quite new to running, but they just having like a close mate like that there was great, because it just makes you feel very safe. And he had actually done his first marathon with me, so from Gunning Road to Dalgetty's, he was 600 meters short of a marathon, so he got to do a couple laps of Dalgetty when I was eating some noodles and stuff like that, and get his first marathon, which is a pretty cool thing to be a part of.
James like 600 meters short of his first marathon. Alright, let's get him.
Yeah, well, coming out of Dalgety, Jack jumped in again after his little stint up Cowbale, and then we were just reeling people in the whole time. I think we were constantly just looking up ahead, and then we'd just see more flashing lights, and then more flashing lights, and then I just felt like my legs were sore, obviously, because you just pretty much done 100 miles, and then we just felt so strong. Both of us were just moving like really well, and I got to 100 miles in about 21.5 hours, which was probably 5k short of Bolocka. And then coming into Bolocka, I had a Red Bull, which seemed to help. And then yeah, coming up Bolocka, I just had like, I don't know if it was the caffeine or just like, I was just felt so good, and I was like, we were charging up Bolocka. I was even one point, I don't know if Jack wants me to tell you about, but I like dropped Jack up Bolocka because I was just like going crazy, and then I could get up to the car, and I thought it was you boys, and then it was like some other crew, and I was like screaming out and saying like, I'm on one today, and then they'll realise that there was somebody else, and then it was just, got up to the top of Bolocka feeling so good. Like last year, I got up to the top of Bolocka, and you boys had the Theragun on me for like 10 minutes, and it was like hell. But I got up to Bolocka feeling so good this year. It was the best feeling, just to like charge up that hill. Like it was, yeah, that was the highlight of the race for sure. And then coming down off the back of Bolocka, like I started to pick up, like it felt like I was sprinting at one point. I looked down and seen 4:30 30s on my watch, and I was like, I just started like I don't know what happened, but I started bawling my eyes out. Like I couldn't control it, and I was just like, I felt like I was literally sprinting, and I passed like 3 people in that gap, and I was like so overwhelmed with like, just, I was just so happy because I just had I felt like I was nailing the race at that point. And then yeah, I just felt like I was on top of the world, just coming into Jindabyne, and Jack had just paced me so well, like through the night into the next morning when the sun was starting to come up, and then picked up my third pacer, which is Brett Cannell, and he's just like such an inspirational dude. It was so good to have somebody like that next to me. Like you'll have to look up Brett's story, but he was like basically attacked by a shark, nearly had like completely lost his life. Like it was insane that he survived, and he's just bounced back, and he's still like just living this amazing life, and the guy's just a beast. So to have him in my corner as well, like it was so good to have those 3 boys to keep me company when I was running. And I think that played a big part in my mentality, especially coming into that morning, because they were just on it, every single thing they just nailed. So having Brett, and then coming into Jindabyne, it's like sun was coming up, and it was just such a good feeling to actually run down into Jindabyne this year, because last year I was like walking down backwards and it was fucking hell. So yeah, I got to Jindabyne feeling really good. Coming out of Jindy, it was polar opposite to last year. Like Mum pretty much filmed a video from the exact same spot. Like last year I was walking out like I was like on crutches, basically walking out of there because my knees were just so cooked. And then this year like we stopped and got some stingos on my leg and the Theragun, and then yeah, we're out of there pretty quickly. I don't know how long we spent there, but couldn't have been more than 7 or so minutes. So I really wanted to emphasize not spending too much time sitting down this year because I was feeling good. So just wanted to keep going, and then got out of Jindy, slowly climb up, and then there's a big descent down into the national park, and I was feeling really good at that point. So I was running like maybe some 5-minute Ks in along there. Then I seen come down past Jane Trumper and her husband on the side of the road, and they were just like giving me heaps of encouragement. And then I seen you boys down near the national park sign, and then me and Brett were just like cruising down into there. So I was about 190k in at that point, but that was a highlight of the race for sure. I felt $1 million there, because I knew there was about to be a big climb coming up. So I really wanted to get as much, like save as much time as possible by going hard down that section into the national park. So we ran when we could, and we moved quite quickly.
We're shaping up pretty good. Put in a good 30 k's with Zac earlier. Got him through to the national park and up the never-ending hill, and he's doing really well. So good to see him kind of get past that bit, and now's I guess where the fun starts. I mean, Perisher, and then all the way up to Charlotte's Pass, and then top of Australia.
Reckon he's going to enjoy it?
Well, he's going to look like he's going to enjoy it. Last one again, but he's looking great at the moment, to be honest. So that's good to see from that perspective.
And his shoes are looking pretty good as well.
Shoes are still white, socks are clean. He's had many compliments on that, so he's stoked.
Keep going.
Coming up past Perisher was moving really well, like still dropping some 6-minute Ks, which was good. I had some pain in my legs, but it seemed I could just push past it, so it wasn't really anything stopping me at that point. And then the weather was quite hot there actually. Like I had a long sleeve on, but I was starting to get a little bit hot, like coming past Perisher and moving up towards Charlotte's Pass, and the weather would look like it was going to be like great. We could see some like menacing clouds over like a bit south, and we weren't sure if it was going to connect all the way to Kosci, but yeah, it did. So we after Charlotte's we joined up with the 3 paces. Obviously you can take as many as you want or as many as you have, and so it was good to pick up Brett, Jamie and Jack there on the run up. And then we were I was going at a good clip. Like I was very motivated at that point, so had moved into the top 10 at that stage, so I really wanted to finish strong. Got to Charlotte's at 29 hours 48 minutes, so that was a pretty decent time I think. And then yeah, started to run up to Kosci, and then there's like huge black dark clouds that just like hang over the top of Kosci around the back, and then there was like the loudest clap of thunder I've ever heard in my whole life. I don't know if I was just delirious, but we were hoping it was going to kind of hold off and like stay over the back of the range, but by the time we got up to Seaman's Hut, it was like torrential, like downpour. Like it was like extremely cold. Like we whipped out all our mandatory gear, and we were getting smashed. So we like decided to just go in there and see if we could hold it off and then keep going if it was going to clear. But it never cleared. Like it pissed down rain for 2 hours. So there was we've seen some runners keep going up to the summit, but it didn't feel like a good idea to go up there at all. And then got the call from Mickey and Greg. Luckily one of the guys had reception in there, and we got the call that it was inclement weather finish, so we just hunkered down in Seaman's Hut and just waited for the storm to pass, which is probably about 2 hours I think, something like that. So yeah, we had the inclement weather finish, so I got stripped of my finish line a little bit. Got 230 Ks in, so it was only 10K to go.
Unfortunately, he had to wait 200 Ks to get his song on the playlist that he really wanted, but he earned it. He was really good all the way through the field. Every time we went past him, he said to the stage, "You lift me, you make me feel good. You can't sit with him for 240 Ks to Arvela." Zac Oneil.
What he did at one stage yesterday?
She was very worried. Again, Zac had his crucial calf injury, which is why we encourage crews to go to the summit with you as well. He did the right thing, so we're really appreciative.
Looking back now, I'm not as happy as I was when I finished, because there's a bit of like recency bias when you finish a race, like kind of effort like that. And I am still happy with it, but I know I can do better, so I think I'm going to have to go back next year and try and do better, because I was planning on having a year off next year, but I can't get away from it. It's just addictive, so I think I'll be back there, I think. Obviously I want to thank Greg and Mickey again, because those guys are just the biggest legends. Like, the whole time I seen him on the race, I was just so happy to see him. I even said to him, like, he's just making me so happy every time I see your faces on the race. So yeah, Greg and Mickey, and all the volunteers there, just like so good. Like, it's just like such a community down there. It's like one big family. As cliche as it sounds, but yeah, I'd just love to thank all those guys, and of course, mum and dad for just coming down and just practically they just took a little bit of a back seat from the crewing side of things this year, but it was good to just see the faces at every like checkpoint when they were allowed to be there, so that was really good. And then like you boys, like Jack, Brett, Jamie, the crew just was so like they just done their job so fucking well, and then they had you running the whole crew, so I want to thank you as well again, because you come down and just you love it. You're probably more passionate about it than I ever feels like sometimes, which is so good to have someone like you in my corner to be able to experience that shit with. So I want to thank you as well. And yeah, Tim and Michaela at the Distance Collective, they're so knowledgeable and they got their heads screwed on especially with long races, and they just really kept me controlled and got me super ready for this race. So yeah, I want a massive shout out to those guys. They're so good at what they do. Also, I want to give a massive shout out to my dad's best mate, my Uncle Mark, where he let us borrow his van, and without that van we would have been in trouble. So the rain was a big factor, and it just the van was like the best thing. So I want to give a big shout out to my Uncle Mark as well. He lending us a couple of sweaty, wet boys for the weekend to use his car. But yeah, big shout out to him as well.